When I met my Jaguar, I knew everything else was about to change. There I sat, pitch blackness. It was what they called a temescal, something I had never heard of, something I was willing to try because everybody else was doing it. Here I was on retreat with a bunch of women I had never met. I blindly said yes because I had nothing else to do. And I sat here in the darkness with these strangers, my eyes wide open, waiting to see something. Being that I've been a creative and an artist my entire life, I was good at seeing. I had a vivid imagination, a wild child that would disappear into the trees and never come back until my daddy whistled. And here I was in the darkness, waiting to see anything. And then I saw it, these two green eyes. And I thought I was hallucinating, but I wasn't because I was sober. And I watched these eyes in the darkness, knowing that there was nothing actually there, and believing that there was something waiting. And then I heard it. Being that I'm a visual person, auditory was something very new to me. And it said, it's time to wake up. It's time to remember who you are, why you're here, and what you're meant to do. And so I sat there in the darkness, listening, waiting, trying to figure out what the fuck that meant, and then realizing why I had come there. Because I had nothing left. Not 2 weeks prior, I thought I had lost everything. I had the man of my dreams. I thought he was the love of my life. We had moved from New York to California together to start this new thing. We built this amazing business. We called it the Lighthouse. It was where creatives came together to create. And we built it from the ground up. Spent a shit ton of money and had this place, our home, where we had artists and creatives and leaders come together and create. It was a place that they could call home, that they could come, teach, guide, make, and just be, because that was a space that we created together. And 2 weeks before I ended up in this temescal, it all fell apart. I had my home, my business. Granted, it was a giant concrete box, but it felt like home. And I built it with the man that I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with. And it all fell apart. So here I was, in the dark, with strangers, with nothing else to do. So I listened. And I let this big black cat guide me. And I said, all right, cat, what you got? Because I surrender, which was rare for a Leo to surrender. I was used to being center of attention and commanding the stage. I've always been a performer. From the time I was a little girl, I was a dancer, an actor, the one that was being on stage, on all the time. And I knew myself, I thought. I knew the projection of myself. And it was this trip that I actually figured out I didn't know who I was. I created this manufactured version of self so that I could be on stage, so that I could hold this space, so that I could own whatever something story that I made up that I started telling myself from a very young age. Because I believed it was true. And if you believe, you achieve or something, right? I don't know. So my life as a performer had guided everything I knew. My first job was actually to gather all of the neighborhood children and teach them a dance performance. I was the art director, I was the choreographer, I was the oldest in the neighborhood, so they had to do what I said. And so I had all these kids, boys, girls, all ages, some boys older than me. It was so fun. And I would take my brother around to all the neighborhood parents and sell them tickets. and say, you must come to the show. It's blah, blah, blah time at blah, blah, blah place. Join me. And my little brother would smile and nod and give them the tickets. That was how I started my entrepreneurship. I've always been the boss. I've always been the creator. And now in this dark hole, I didn't know. I wasn't making. I wasn't creating. I was just allowing. And it was a huge shift for me. I actually let myself let go. And I had to figure out what being meant. And I had to stop forcing myself to something, because that was all I knew. And there was nothing to go home to. So I let myself just be and listen to this big black cat. Now they call it a spirit animal. I had no idea what that meant. So this black cat joins me often. He's probably back there somewhere. And I've learned to trust this knowing, this thing that's much bigger than myself. And when I actually started to see in the dark, I figured out why I'm here. And it's not only to be the visionary and to help others create and help them be the foundation for themselves, to remember who they are, to come home to themselves, because without this, we really have nothing to come home to. And so it was an exercise in trust that started with me. And I had to listen to this big black cat. And she always knew, but she forgot. So that trip, my first retreat I ever went on, I decided to give the women on retreat with me a gift of remembrance, a gift of who they were in that moment, at that time, in that space where we were together. And it was beautiful. And to have permission to just be yourself, you'd be amazed at what comes through and how beautiful you can be. And it was that trip that I realized that I had a gift that was much bigger than just the art. It's the power to see, and the truth in knowing that who you are is important, and where you're going is just the beginning.